I'm Christina Guenther, and I was raised just outside of Brandon on a dairy farm.
Casey Guenther. I grew up on a strawberry farm just outside of Boissevain.
We met up at Clear Lake. There was a camp. I think Casey was always away at hockey tech camp, so he was never there when I was there, but a lot of his relatives went there, so I was his counselor for his sisters. And his mom was the cook, so she knew who I was, and all his aunts were the cooks. And then Casey became a counselor one year, and I was a counselor one year. And then we became friends, and then more than friends.
I went to a liberal arts small school, college outside of Boston. I went there with dreams of the NHL in mind, so it was on a hockey scholarship. But I quickly realized, not quickly, after my first 1 or 2 seasons that that wasn't in my future.
Then I went to a liberal arts college also. My major was art, and then I minored in phys ed, but that's a secret. Nobody knows that. Yeah, and so that's where my first exposure to the arts became more defined, I guess. So the idea for India came after I was finishing up my education degree at University of Manitoba. So we were looking for a place to go abroad, and a friend of ours told us about this school in India. It sounded like a perfect place for us. It was in the mountains, you could hike everywhere, it wasn't that crowded, the temperature was like moderate. It was a boarding school, but you got to, everybody had their own house, and it was spread out across this hillside. And it sounded really romantic. And would you say romantic? In ways. Well, we looked at the website, at the Woodstock School website, and we noticed that there was a teaching job for physical education. So I thought, well, maybe I should apply for that. And there was one for a dorm parent, because it's a boarding school. And so we both applied for those jobs. And during the interview, I asked them if there was any opportunities that I could teach art instead of physical education. Just, a stab in the dark. And they said, well, actually, there is an art position. Would you rather teach art? And I said, yes.
We felt pretty lucky to find a school where we both could work. We really wanted to live in a place where we could walk everywhere and try to have some sort of a simple life in a way.
For the grade 12 students, I started planning art field trips. So I would take the students to Delhi, and then we would go and visit all different art galleries. There was this one art gallery that we would visit, and it was called the Reflections Gallery, and it was just a small room, and they would have different artists showing every month. And a lot of times it was artists that didn't have a lot of money, that didn't have the means to show their work in larger commercial galleries. A lot of times they just need a place or a venue to put their art up, and for other people to realize that there's this talent just around the corner. That's a model to kind of how we run our gallery here, in a way, like it influenced us, just showing us that you can have a gallery, you just need bare walls. We kind of knew by the 3rd year that that was going to be our last year there. And I always like to think that you leave somewhere when you still like it, because that means that you'll go back to it. Yeah, we also, in our 3rd year, we had our daughter, and We wanted her to, you know, grow up around her grandparents and her cousins and to have, you know where she came from. We asked Casey's parents to keep an eye out for a building, not a building, a house, I should say. A place, a roof that we could, yeah.
We didn't even get a roof with this building.
No.
So. 1894 is the year the building was built, to the best of our local historians' knowledge. The vision, yes.
The vision to have a space that I could create in was there, but we didn't know how we would be involving the community. Our vision kind of grew as we started renovating. We thought, wow, these are really big, like downstairs, it's a really big area and there's bare walls. It'll be perfect. And of course, yes, we do have other visions. You know, well, what if the art center gets too big and we have to move to another building? And what if we have more kids? Where are they going to be? You know, when they're teenagers, they're going to need space. But hopefully they'll appreciate that they had some of their upbringing living above an art gallery. Like, I think that sounds pretty neat.
I think our long-term goal would be to shift the gallery from being private to community-run. How that will evolve, you know, we don't know. We try to involve others as much as we can with classes, with shows and whatnot. It is tricky when you live in a space.
Yeah, as we go on, our vision changes for the art center. We would love to have one day a board that can help us in making our decisions about why we choose to have certain exhibits and how we can fundraise for the art center. That would be our next step, to be a nonprofit.
Is there any other models like this that exist in rural Manitoba?
Probably not.
Today is Darcy Watt's show. It's titled Love and Lie. Each fall we try to do a local show, and he had shown a couple pieces, just one or two pieces in the past. But we really knew, we knew he would have a collection to fill our space. So we approached him, and I think he was excited to show his work. Sometimes artists are a little eccentric and don't want to take the spotlight, but that's fine. And that's the neat thing with hosting shows. You're exposed to all sorts of art and ideas, and for Darcy, this is just the title of his life's work. So it's pretty diverse in what it is. He's got pieces from when he was a young boy to very recent, and a variety of mediums too. I wouldn't say we were so bold and confident to think, this is the way it's going to work. We're trying to be fairly flexible with what we do, and yeah, we're very excited with how it's turned out. Yeah, we wanted to be creative and intentional in where we were going to live. And I think that's pretty neat often we think art is, a painting or a photograph, but I think it's more it's, renovating a space, and we're quick to tear down often, I think, with buildings and start new, but, renovating it has been quite a process. Living abroad too, you don't need a lot to be happy. And I think that was pretty important that we saw that.
What I've noticed over time is that to exhibit community work is so important. It brings people together, and it just, makes people appreciate what others have to offer within the community.